Have you ever been told that you're too sensitive, too soft, or too emotional? Or maybe you got the opposite and you were told to toughen up and stuff down your feelings? Well, what if I told you that your softness as a feminine woman is actually your superpower? It's not actually something to suppress, but it is something to embrace fully. In today's video, I'm going to show you how softness, vulnerability, and divine feminine energy can completely transform your life, your relationships, and your self-worth. Understanding these concepts took me from being single for over a decade, burned out and stressed out from a business, and in addition to that, no closer to living out my dreams of the international lifestyle and wanting to live in different countries, to meeting my husband in 4 months, who's a provider and a protector, to moving to Mexico, and now my husband actually has a business where we have to travel quite a bit, right? So check on the manifestation list. And in addition to that, now creating something like Mindful Success Path that brings in money passively in a way that is not stressful and does not burn me out like before. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without all the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. Lately, we've been talking about divine feminine energy. We've been talking about feminine communication skills. We've been talking about nervous system regulation. And I've even called out a cult or two. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And if you would like me on this mission of helping women avoid disastrous relationships and marriages, then make sure to give this a like because it helps us get it in front of more women. And finally, as always, I have resources for those of you who want to go deeper into this kind of content. In this case, the resource that makes the most sense, there's actually two. So one of them is our free Enhance Your Feminine Energy guide, which will walk you through a lot of rituals you can use to come back into your feminine energy and show you how to use it in different areas of your life. You can download that below. And the next one is our Masculine and Feminine Energy Dynamics Masterclass, which walks through polarity, why it's so important, what it looks like with masculine energy, what it looks like with feminine energy, what is a healthy version of each energy, and how they work together in different areas of your life. It's really going to help ground a lot of what we talk about in this video today. You can find the link for that below as well. All right, so let's first talk about the misconception of softness as weakness, because if you were raised like I was, so you were raised in Western culture, and also you were raised by very strong, independent women. I've oftentimes said this big part of my healing journey was healing ancestral trauma and going through my lineage. It's healed money stuff. It definitely healed relationship stuff. And on both sides of my family, at least 3 generations back, I can trace back that the women really were in survival mode in a lot of instances. So perhaps you also have a lineage where the women have mostly been in survival mode, and because of that, they've been very masculine in a lot of ways because life forced them into it in many ways. And they obviously didn't know this stuff that we're talking about these days. Otherwise, they would have taught it to us. So one of those misconceptions that oftentimes happens when you've been raised to be hyper independent like I was is the fact that softness equals weakness. Most of us are taught that strength is like the masculine version of strength. It's hardness, it's independence, it's stoicism, but feminine strength is different. It's oftentimes said that masculine strength is like on the outside, feminine strength is on the inside. It's about emotional resilience, really, at the end of the day. So softness is about emotional depth, it's about presence, it's about receptivity. And let me tell you, it takes a very strong woman to keep receiving and receiving and receiving and expanding it, because it makes us so uncomfortable. And the reason it makes us uncomfortable, I did another video on that. There's a lot of historical reasons for it. There's cultural reasons for it. It's not like a weird defect that we were born with. Quite the opposite. We were born with the capability to receive. But a lot of things happened that have made it very difficult for women to be able to receive. And it requires a lot of strength to continue receiving. In addition to that, it's also about grace under pressure. And it's about, this is the most important part. This is where feminine power really comes from. It's the ability to influence without control. So those of you who've been asking me, how do I get my husband to make more money, right? It's about learning influence without control. So some examples of powerful feminine energy include water. It could be very destructive. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in a hurricane. I'm from Florida originally. I've been through quite a few hurricanes. Oh my God, is that destructive, right? Water and wind. But the most destructive part of a hurricane isn't even the wind. The most destructive part of a hurricane is flooding and surge. So when there's surge from the ocean, that's actually the most dangerous part of a hurricane. It's not the wind, it's the water, right? That is the most powerful. The ocean is an example of powerful feminine energy. Mother Nature in and of itself is powerful feminine energy. I live on a lake in Mexico, and it's really cool to see the storms coming in. I live on a mountain, so I have a great view of it. So cool to see the storms coming in. That's Mother Nature. And another way of seeing this outside of nature is a calm, unbothered, unshakable woman. So here is the psychology and the power of softness. A lot of times this comes down to a woman being able to regulate her nervous system and having emotional intelligence. So I have said this before. Usually you have two camps of women. Most women fall into the drama queen camp. So this is the basic Betty, basically. She's basic, okay? There's no other way of putting it, because she lets her emotions rule the rest of her life. This is usually the drama queen. That's where, unfortunately, most women are. It's like an emotionally stunted woman in a lot of ways, where she's emotionally immature. The other extreme, which is if you're watching this YouTube channel, you're probably here. I would rather be here, is the woman who suppresses her emotions and she's always in control. Now, it's still difficult to get out of that, but at least that woman takes some form of responsibility in some way, whereas the drama queen does not. So because you're able to take some form of responsibility in some way already, it's going to be a lot easier for you than it would be for a drama queen, for example, to get more into feminine energy, because the drama queen doesn't take any responsibility at all. She's emotionally stunted, in other words. So what we have to learn how to do is kind of get into the middle ground where there's emotional mastery. So we're neither letting our emotions control everything and reacting to everything around us and creating drama and chaos, which a lot of women do, nor are we suppressing all of our emotions and not allowing ourselves to feel our feelings or express our feelings in a healthy way. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this isn't about good or bad, or you're doing it wrong or you're doing it right. It's more about healthy versus unhealthy. It's more about productive versus unproductive, really, at the end of the day. So the softness as well, or the power of softness, is the ability to remain open even when you're triggered. Even when you're triggered. And this is where that emotional mastery comes into place, because softness invites safety in masculine men, in children, in team, in relationships. It's how people open up to you. People want to throw money at you when you understand this as a woman, without you having to work so damn hard. So masculine energy is built to protect, but only when it feels like there's something worth protecting. And a lot of men out here, this is going to trigger you. Oh my God, is this going to trigger you? Okay, but I heard this from my husband when we first started dating. Before I met my husband, I was around a lot of high-performing men who were very on purpose, high earners, had businesses, and they were struggling in relationships. And I always heard the same thing from all these men. And the thing that I heard is that I get with these women, they cause a lot of drama, which of course they have to look at themselves as to why they're doing that too. I'm not saying they don't have any responsibility in this. I'm just telling you what men used to tell me, right? I get with these women, they cause a lot of drama. They don't realize that I'm here protecting for her. She causes chaos. Then I'm not able to do my job to protect for her. Most women out here are basic and they're not worth protecting. That's literally what I would hear. And the common denominator would always be that these women that they were encountering were always very dramatic, or getting in the way, or causing friction, or causing issues, or complaining. And of course, most of those women didn't know what I'm teaching you guys on this channel. The thing that's worth protecting to a man is your softness, your heart, and your emotional truth. You learn how to do that and he will move mountains for you, because that's what attracts them. And the masculine man loves to protect that, and he loves to give to that. So let's get into some of the ways in which this happens. You have to learn how to be vulnerable. so hard for those of us who have been taught to be hyper independent, because we will see vulnerability as weakness. I used to be like this. I built a whole life around, trying to control, and the control came from making a lot of money and being successful and avoiding relationships, because relationships are just going to give me problems, and then I would get into relationships and there's no way I'm showing my cards, that type of energy. Yeah, we need to learn how to rework that for those of you who are in that space. And the way that we like to frame this is by something called sacred vulnerability. So feminine energy, she doesn't like, it doesn't mean spilling everything like the drama queens. We're not trying to do that. But it does mean being discerning, and it does mean sharing the right truth at the right time with intention and integrity. So it's about being open, not exposed. And this is more like in the beginning stages of dating, right? It's more about the open, not exposed. But you can also apply this to marriages, right? So it's about having boundaries, but the way that you express those boundaries is what really matters. So, for example, let's say you're in the beginning stages of dating. Open, not exposed would look like, you go on a first date with a guy, or you're in the first couple dates, and you're not telling him about all your freaking childhood trauma, right? Which a lot of people out here, for some reason, like to do these days. But right, you do need to be open about your values, and you do need to be open about your intentions. So for example, you're probably going to want to be, if you want to get married and have kids, you probably got to be open about that from the beginning, right? Rather than waiting until you're 6 months in and then being surprised that he doesn't want to, get married or have kids. Don't waste your freaking time like that. So open, not exposed. You can open up about your values and your desires and why you're dating, because why would you waste your time otherwise? And by the way, masculine men appreciate that. I told my husband I'm dating for marriage. That's what I told him, right? I mean, I didn't tell him in those ways. I can tell the story some other time, but he knew up front that I was ready to get married, and he was like, challenge accepted. I mean, it didn't scare him away. Most of you who are being told that saying that to a man scares him away, it's BS. It scares away feminized men. Masculine men love it. They're like, yes, a challenge, right? Men like a challenge. However, right, exposing yourself, right, isn't telling a man that you want to get married and have kids. Exposing yourself is going on a first date and telling him all your childhood trauma. This man doesn't deserve that. He's not proven that he can be privy to that information. Is that making sense? Because a lot of people out here have this stuff confused. They literally have it backwards. And then when you're already in relationship, and even before, it's about having boundaries but being open. So saying things like I feel hurt instead of you hurt me, or saying things like that doesn't feel aligned to me versus deuces, I'm out of here. Do you see the difference? There's huge differences, and it's all about learning how to communicate. A lot of times this whole softness thing is the energetics, of course. So definitely make sure to check out that masculine and feminine energy dynamics masterclass and how they work together in a dance. But it's also about the skills and how you actually express yourself and regulating your emotions. The next part is about how softness really transforms your life and relationships. And I can speak a lot to this, right? So you become a lot more magnetic. People feel you, okay? They want to give to you. They want to express to you. My husband has this, it's not a joke, but he's noticed this thing where he can't really leave me alone, quote unquote, right? Because somebody's going to come and help me, right? Whether it's a neighbor or a contractor that's in the condo building, or somebody's going to come and help me, no matter what. So he might as well just come help me. It's because, why do you think people want to help me so much, actually?
Why not?
Why not, right? I guess I have inviting energy, right? I remember when we first moved to this condo, he was still in the city. I was here in the condo with the dog and the cat, and the lady who helps us, our housekeeper, starting to get things kind of organized. He was in the city, an hour and a half away, still working with movers and stuff like that, and logistics and all that. And so the movers show up here, the AC people show up here, and this looks like chaos over here. My husband's on the way. He's not here yet. So you want to know what happens? All the neighbors jumped in to start helping me in that moment. So he has a joke. He's like, you're always going to get help. People always want to give to you. And it's because of that magnetic energy, right? The other thing that happens is that you stop performing and you start receiving. So a lot of times women will come to this work and it becomes very performative. They're like, what do I say to get him to do that? And okay, fine. There's a part of this that's like skills, but if you're doing it from being performative or manipulative, number one, you're not going to get what you want. Number two, you're going to feel like you're not yourself because you're not embodying these things. That's when women say things like, oh, but I have to change who I am and stuff like that. It's because you're not embodying these things, so it feels very uncomfortable. And then number three, even if you do get what you want, it may not last long or you may not know how to sustain it. Because a lot of this is not about performance, it's about embodiment. And when you start embodying this softness, that's when you really start to receive. The other thing that happens is that you deepen connection, intimacy, and influence without force. So a lot of women don't realize how much influence they have over their environment and over their men. And the way that you communicate to them, your energy, what you're radiating them can take that, like, it could either destroy them, right? Or it can catapult their lives. Women don't know that they have that kind of power and influence, but you know who does know that women have that power and influence? Men. They know that you have this type of power and influence. And when I started learning how to do these things, the intimacy with my husband and I skyrocketed. He ends up starting a new business that generates six figures in like 3 to 6 months. It generated that. He's constantly up leveling himself and upgrading because he's very ambitious. His confidence went through the roof. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to tell him to go do it. I just had to embody this kind of energy and know how to communicate. And if you've been watching my communication series, you can learn more about that. And if you sign up for a masculine and feminine energy dynamics masterclass, then you can go deeper into how this dance works and how the two influence each other. And then finally, you create a safer space for masculine energy to show up and solve your problems. I have a joke. The joke is that if I have a problem, I cannot say it in that exact moment that I have a problem because my husband will stop everything he's doing to go solve the problem. So if I don't want it solved at that very moment, right, I need to keep my mouth shut, right, and then tell him later. Because when you're a safe space for that masculine energy, they want to show up for you. They want to provide for you. They want to protect you. They want to help you in creating the things that you want to do. The thing is that you have to learn to lead with softness, because when you lead with softness, you create polarity, and that draws in the right people. It expels the wrong people. So a lot of you here who are fixated on like one particular man, you learn how to do this and the right men are going to step up and the wrong ones aren't even going to see you. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get rid of themselves, basically. And the other thing is that it also creates a polarity with opportunities where it magnetizes opportunities to you and it magnetizes support toward you. Like the example that I gave where all my neighbors were like helping me while we're in the middle of this move that we recently went through. So now let's talk about embodying your divine feminine power. Here are some practical ways that you can start doing this. And again, right, don't do this from a performative place. Start becoming these things. And how do you become? Practice, 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 practice. So whether you need to work with a coach like me in order to help you practice these things and role play it out, or perhaps you sign up for our masculine and feminine energy dynamics masterclass or whatever other program that we have to help you embody these things, just keep in mind this isn't about just doing the thing to get a result out of it. This is about embodiment of these practices so that you can start magnetizing a lot more things to you and really start standing in that soft feminine power. Because when you learn how to do that, it changes your whole life. Number one, slow down your speech. I think I've said this on every video this week. A lot of you talk too damn much, right? And I used to do it too, so I get it. Again, it's just like nervous energy that wants to move, right? So we have to learn how to slow down how we're talking. We have to learn how to be more intentional with how we're talking. We have to discern. Like, for example, I've noticed that I do this when I'm out, when I'm with my husband, like in the car, like we were driving from the city, to and from the city. He got me a spa day yesterday, so I got like a facial done and stuff, and we were driving to and from the city. Like in the car, he's like talking to me about stuff, and I'm just quiet. I'm just listening. I'm just observing, right? I'm letting him talk. A lot of women would not do that. A lot of women would literally suck up all the air in the car and talk 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 and talk, which to a man, I mean, not even to a man, to children, to men, to other women, it's just totally overwhelming. energy. That's what a lot of women do. So you want to learn how to slow down your speech. You want to learn how to listen. You don't always have to be saying something, ladies. And this is just a common pattern I've learned with those of you that I've started working with one-on-one. You don't always have to fill up space with what you're saying or what you're doing. Your presence is enough. Or like, for example, yesterday we were with some neighbors. My husband's starting to manage properties here in the development that we live in. And there was an issue with one of our neighbors and contractors trying to get some work done. And my husband went over there to try and help because he's like, obviously I need this finished so I can, rent out this property, basically, right? And it's like a whole mess, right? And instead of me, like, we're all like talking in a group, and instead of me like interjecting my opinion or what I think should be done, first of all, I have no idea what should be done in this situation with contractors. But I just sit there and I quietly observe, and I let my husband take the lead of that whole conversation with the neighbors. A lot of women don't do that. A lot of women will be like, you should fix it like this, you should do this, you should do that, and like just bogart the whole situation, right? When it's completely unnecessary. I was just there sitting outside, enjoying the wind with my feet in the grass, grounding, and I was having a good time doing that, rather than trying to be a busybody and involved and all this kind of stuff, right? So slow down your speech, slow down how you move, slow down how when you're responding, just slow down. Another thing you can do is before responding to anything, you can take 3 breaths. So like breathe, allow for those pauses. You can place a hand on your heart when you speak, especially when you're learning how to express what you're feeling to a partner, because where do our emotions live? They live right here in the heart. You can let your body move more intuitively. And this is all stuff, by the way, as well as other rituals that I've put into our free Enhance Your Feminine Energy Guide, which you can download for free below. So if you download that, you're going to find a lot more rituals and a lot more things that you can do to start embodying more of the divine feminine power over the next week. So the link for that is below. And probably the most important one that women don't realize, especially in Western culture, is you have to allow yourself your emotions, and you have to rest, and you have to receive. And it's actually a lot harder than it sounds, especially the resting and receiving part, because many of us in Western culture grew up in a society where you constantly have to be productive to prove yourself. That's very much in Western culture. So it's a hard one to break. And then the receiving thing, I've done other videos on why it's difficult for women to receive and why we have to relearn how to do that. Because our ancestors who came before us, like, there were reasons, okay, why a lot of this stuff did not happen, right? And was not taught to us, really out of protecting us at the end of the day, because of the situations going on in the world at the time. So many of us were not taught these things and then have to relearn them, which is why you're seeing a resurgence of these things. So like receiving is huge. I remember when I would teach women about business and I would teach them about marketing and sales, and I had to have to say things like, girl, take up space, okay? Take up some space so you can make some money. So that would be an example. A lot of women, it's interesting because it's like they're scared of taking up space in terms of like time or attention, but then they also talk a ton at the same time because of like that nervous energy. So again, ultimately at the end of the day, all this comes down to is regulating your nervous system, really at the end of the day. Period, point blank, end of story. So I actually have another resource that can help with that, which is our Hustle to Harmony Masterclass, where I teach you the 4-step process I use to regulate my nervous system and now manifest the life that I have, where I went from single for 10 years to manifesting my husband in 4 months, a provider husband, a masculine man, which is what a lot of you are asking me for. In order for me to bring that into my life, I had to regulate my nervous system so I could actually receive it and not sabotage it. And in that class, I teach you exactly the 4-step process I used to do that. So you can find that below as well. So thank you so much for giving me your time today. If you have any questions or anything like that, any specific things that you want me to help coach you on, send me an email. The information for that is below. A lot of you guys have been asking about certain situations in the comments, like, how do I get a man to see that he should marry me, for example, stuff like that. I have zero context on this thing, and that requires coaching. So if you're one of those, shoot me an email. The information on how to do that is below, and I will catch you on the next one.